So Phil, you have been the man who's been working on this for the Town Council for the last
4 years.
4 years,
Yeah.
okay. And so now we're getting to a real stage. But how's the plan come about? Have you sat there and drafted it?
No, it's been very much done by a group of individuals from across Westbury with different levels of expertise. A lot of members of the community have been involved, which is really important. Also several councillors to drive it forward and make things happen. And of course Westbury Town Council have paid for it, effectively. And we've worked really hard to make sure that we've had areas of expertise from across the whole community. Obviously yourself with your background in community-led housing has been invaluable, but also we've had people with a lot of knowledge on environmental issues, on transport issues, and
heritage.
Heritage was a huge part of what we did. Yeah, we spent months working on that. And somebody went around looking at all the different community centres and health centres and chiropodists, and so the actual level of detail is phenomenal, but you've got to delve deep into the neighbourhood plan to see all that. Useful snapshot of the town, really.
It is indeed, yes. And now we've got to the stage where we can reveal it in draft and ask people for their comments.
Very much
so. How is that going to work?
Well, we've got 6-week period basically between the 12th of September and the 24th of October. The 12th of September was chosen because it was a week after the Town Council meeting, and the Town Council have to formally sign it off and say yes, it's good to go. So we thought we'll leave ourselves a week and then we'll say go. We then had it's normally a 6-week period for neighbourhood plans for people to comment.
This is all set out in legislation?
Yeah, it's all set out in legislation. It normally is a 6-week period. There's sometimes extenuating circumstances where it can be 8 weeks, but we went for the 6 weeks. Just happens to finish on my wedding anniversary, it's 24th of October, so I'm having a day off that day. and a dinner. So we're hoping that during that period people will read it, study it, consider it, and debate it and talk about it and feedback their thoughts on it, because we know it's not right, it's draft, and it really is it's just a snapshot, as I say, of Westbury. And there's things we missed, there's things that have happened during the 4 years that we've been doing this, so we might well have gone out and studied everything 3 years ago, and suddenly a new green space has appeared that we've missed. You know, so
it's a living document.
It's a living document.
And actually its lifespan is quite a long time, isn't it? Because it once it's adopted, it will last until...
Once it's adopted, which won't be until, I think, it'll go to referendum, and hopefully the people of Westbury will say, yes, we're happy with this. You only get to vote yes or no, you don't, maybe. So people of Westbury will say, yes, we're happy with this, and then it gets adopted by Wiltshire Council, and all planners have to abide by it. That's going to take a good 18 months or so for that to happen. So it's then in place until 2036, and that ties in, it sounds a long way ahead, but it isn't really. It ties in also with Wiltshire Council's own local plan.
Right. And
that runs to 2036 as well. And that's where their housing target figures of 710 has come from. It's up to 2036 at the moment.
So while we're going through this consultation process, I mean, not everybody wants to come out to a meeting or a session, or what are the different ways that people can give their feedback?
They can. We do have an online survey form, which is, I think it's going to be the most common way people will respond to us, is they'll fill in the form. There's 2 levels to it. There's one where you can just basically tick the box and say, yeah, that's all fine, or there's one where you can really delve down and comment in detail. So it can be a very simple form, or it can be a more complex form, depending how people want to look at it, really. We will capture all that information, and that'll be fed back into the revised version of the neighbourhood plan. People can also get hold of a printed copy of the form, and we'll have copies around, and people can call into the offices here at Westbury Town Council, and also in the library there'll be a copy, and I believe Lee Park Community Centre is going to have copies as well. There's going to be a number of pop-up events, which I'm certainly going to be at, and hopefully yourselves will be at as well. in the market and in various events around Westbury. So you'll see the neighbourhood plan popping up all over the place and have a chance to talk to people and discuss it. I think it's important to say one thing we won't be doing, because we just don't have time, is to trawl through Facebook, snapping people's comments and feeding them into the neighbourhood plan. We just can't do that, it's just too much. But if somebody's got a valid point to make, put it onto the feedback form, get it to us, and we will take account of that.
So it sounds like if you're a real techie, then it's easy to do it online.
Yeah.
But if you haven't got a clue what to do with a computer,
yeah, piece of paper and a pencil.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities to.
Plenty of opportunities.
Yeah. And also not to be put off by however many pages this is, because there is an awful lot.
There's also a lot. There's a thing called a mini guide being produced. It's being printed right now. I talked to the printer just this morning actually. And that's a distilled version, so it's just got the main points of the neighbourhood plan, what they all mean. So really you can just look at the mini guide and decide whether it's for you or not. But if you want to go into detail, then there's an awful lot of detail that you can go into.
Okay, well that's fantastic. We look forward to meeting everybody as this rolls out around Westbury.